Combat sports fans, Basement Breakdown here. We are back with a new episode. It is very late and a little bit of an obscure time to be releasing this because, depending on where you're watching, perhaps not, but it is a 3 a.m. here. I have not done the predictions for the UFC Fight Night, Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. Yes, it is a garbage card. Yes, it has left me very unmotivated, especially after the last week's card, UFC 326, Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. The BMF belt, through and through, that was not a very good card. And, it's been a jam-packed week for us UFC fans, MMA fans. Mostly, I would say, just UFC specifically. I'm referencing, obviously, Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland at UFC 328. They have tossed Nasruddin Imavov aside and made room for Sean Strickland. Makes a little bit of sense considering Sean Strickland has already beaten Nasruddin Imavov on a week's notice after a very close fight with Jared Cannonier. That's crazy. We got the UFC White House card, Freedom 250, which in my opinion is not lived up to expectation. I'll probably leave a more in-depth, conversation about that for next week when my editor comes. It'll be a very high-quality video for the Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy card. But even that's kind of a shit card. I don't know. I've just not been really impressed with the UFC's matchmaking as of late, and it's left a sour taste in my mouth. There's been some good fights announced. We have Charles Oliveira. We have Alex Pereira taking on Surreal Gain for the interim heavyweight championship, which is something that we kind of rumored. This has been rumored for a while, and I kind of knew this would come to fruition. They were speaking to John Jones. John Jones wasn't too happy about the fact that Dana White, after UFC 326, basically denied the allegations of ever even having him, in questions to talk, which is apparently pissed off John Jones because he was like, "What do you mean? We were talking. It was a money issue and we couldn't get there." He's paying Conor Benn $13 million to fight in Zuffa. Eddie Hearn, Dana White have their beef. Signed Tom Aspinall to his management team, brand, whatever it is that he's doing. I can go on for a long time about a lot of the news that's, come out recently. And that'll probably make some good videos. I'll talk about it next week. I really do have to start uploading more and give my opinion on these things because I have lots of I'm always on the ball with what's coming out. It's just sometimes hard to sit there and edit for 4 hours, but I love doing this. Regardless, we are here to talk about the fight night. So let's get into it. I'm gonna give my full card predictions. Let's go. Weight division, we have Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is a underdog in this fight, as she usually is in her fights. Sam Hughes is coming off of 2 wins, or she might be on a longer win streak than that. But she last beat Shauna Banon, who freaking sucks. She's got oh my god, she just kicks. And that's about it. She is one of the worst female UFC fighters I've ever seen. She beat Stephanie Luciano before that. Pierre Rodriguez, her opponent. I believe these girls are also the same age. She fought Caitlin Sousa, and she beat her by a decision last time out. And it was a pretty close fight. Excuse me. I usually go with Sam Hughes in these fights because I do think she's a good underdog pick. However, I do think that Pierre Rodriguez will be able to beat Sam Hughes in this fight. She is a minus 250 favorite over Sam Hughes. I think she's got some pretty good boxing. I think Sam will be able to win a round, and she's always in your face. But Sam Hughes has got a lot of scar tissue. She kind of gets opened up in a lot of fights. I think that, Damage will be a big dictator of this fight, and she'll look a lot worse than her opponent, Pierre, by the end of round 3. This will be a very a typical women's fight. It could be entertaining. I do think Sam Hughes brings it, Sam Page, it's her nickname, brings it to her opponents when she comes into the octagon. She comes to fight, and she typically pushes the pace. So Pierre will have to deal with that for 3 rounds. Hopefully it's a decent fight. Won't bet on it. We move up to the bantamweight division. We have Lacerda versus Hecher Sousa. I don't always like betting on contender series guys, especially as of late. Just the guys who they give one fight on the contender series and then they give them a fight. We saw it happen with Rodolfo Bellato in his fight last week, where he opened up the card against a contender series prospect and beat the shit out. Well, he didn't look so good within the first minute or like couple seconds of the fight. He was getting touched up a little bit, but landed. Knocked out his opponent. I'm worried for Hecher Sousa. Lacerda, I believe last time out, had a submission. Yeah, over Saman Oliveira. Pretty nice. Happened towards the end of the second round. The striking numbers were close. Lacerda's got a very nice ground game. In regards to Hecher Sousa, it is his first fight in the UFC, as I mentioned. This is Dana White's Contender Series alumni. He looked good against Maxim Lee in his first fight. Like, he does have good takedowns. Wasn't really able to get the finish, but won a unanimous decision. He is a minus 250 favorite, something like that, in the 200s, Hecher Sousa over Lacerda. I know a couple people taking him as an underdog in this fight, being Lacerda. I am going to take Hecher Sousa. I think he'll spend a lot of time on top position, and I think this will go to decision. 29-28, I'm going to say Hecher Sousa. Lacerda's got the potential to submit Hecher Sousa, but I don't know. Like, I'm worried about this fight. It's a contender series dude coming up, so that hasn't been going well for those guys recently. But we're going with a Hecher Sousa decision. We move up the card. All right. We have Beatrice Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon. 6-0 versus 7-1, women's bantamweight division. Beatrice Mesquita is a favorite, I believe, over Montserrat Rendon. These ladies are 2 years apart in age, 34 and 36. Beatrice being the younger fighter. Montserrat Rendon, she beat Alicia Pereira last time out, Alice Pereira, by split decision. She's won her 2 fights in the UFC by split decision. First fight in the UFC against Tamaris Vidal, which she won by split, and then she lost to Daria Zelenciakova. She fights every year, and then Bia Mesquita last fought Irina Alekseeva and absolutely beat the crap out of her, and then submitted her. I watched that fight, and she looked pretty good in that fight. And Irina Alekseeva is not great. She's won 1 fight in the UFC and proceeded to lose 3 in a row. But Montserrat Rendon just gets these split decision nods, and I kind of like what I see from Beatrice Mesquita. Like, she's very aggressive, and I don't see that from her opponent. So there's 3 chick fights on this card, including the co-main event. Kind of fucking crazy, but these are the cards. Beatrice Mesquita, I'm going to say it finishes Montserrat Rendon in this fight via submission, via ground and pound. I think she'll be out there, she'll be aggressive, and she'll take her down and beat her up. So we're going to go with the ground and pound for Mesquita in round 2. Could be round 1, but I'm going to say round 2. All right, we move up. Oh, God. Middleweight division, we have 2 absolute bums. Brad Tavares, who had his last win against Jared Meeshart, and then they went to a decision, which is like, who the hell doesn't finish? Meeshart, recently, he hasn't looked very good. And then he beat Chris Weidman in like his last fight in the UFC, where even then he got like knocked down for a second. Wait, no, Brad Tavares he fought Chris Weidman and then they went to a decision. He fought both those guys, Chris Weidman. I think Eryk Anders was the guy who fought Chris Weidman, took him out of there, but he got knocked down for like a second in their fight. This is like a dead even fight, I think, in the odds. They're just like both minus like 109 or something. Eryk Anders, fought Christian Leroy Duncan recently, who's been on a freaking hot streak, and obviously he's going to just destroy a guy like Eryk. For that, Eryk Anders beat Chris Weidman and Jamie Pickett, the Night Wolf, who's no longer in the UFC. Oh man, that guy has some of the worst fighting IQ I've ever seen in my life. That's really tough. This is a very tough fight, honestly. They're both 38 years old. Brad Tavares has looked like shit in his last couple fights. He got TKO'd by Robert Birchak, which is not a good look. And then, as I said before that, he won a decision against Hecher. Oh. I'm gonna go with Eryk Anders to beat Brad Tavares. Like it's you can make terrible arguments for both of these guys. It's a shit fight. I'm gonna take Eryk by decision. He could actually finish Brad Tavares. His chin's suspect, as I said in his last fight versus Robert. Yeah, no fucking way I'm taking Brad Tavares. We're going with Eryk Anders. I'll take him by finish. I think it'll be a sloppy first round, and then he'll hurt him in the second. Like for this card, I feel like we got a couple fights to go before I have this opinion. Bellagio Key versus Manuel Sousa. Manuel Sousa is a prospect who's looked very freaking good. Yeah, I like him a lot. I expect him to win this fight against Bellagio Key, honestly. It's a big step up in opponent, in my opinion, from Christian Perez on the Contender Series. Contender Series, you worry about these guys getting fraud checked in their first fight because it happens all the time. But Bellagio Key, I feel like hasn't looked too great in his UFC career. I mean, he started off kind of hot, beating Timmy Kawamba by split decision, but he did win that fight. Lost to Chris Duncan in a fight where he was like doing very well, and he kind of has shit fight IQ sometimes, and ended up fucking getting himself put in a guillotine. After that, he beat Michael Asplund Jr., who will be co-maining a fight night soon, which is terrible. I believe that's coming up. That's Evlaw versus Murphy. Terrible co-main. And he went to he got TKO'd by Mason Jones last time out, where he was able to get a knockdown, and he walks himself into a KO. Like, he has the ability to beat Manuel Sousa, but I feel like Manuel Sousa, who is a favorite in this fight, is going to beat Bellagio Key. I don't see this being a good underdog pick. I know I'm going with a lot of favorites to start off the night, but it's just the way I feel. That last one, though, Brad Tavares is dead even. Yeah, I don't trust Bellagio Key. There might be a knockdown apiece, or this could just be this could have a round of just absolute madness before someone actually, goes to sleep. But I'm going with Manoel Sousa to win this fight over Bellagio Key. We move up to a fight. SuYoung, who beat Long Zhao, who just lost to Cody Garbrandt, and I'm not going to bitch about that fight, but if you know, you watch that. Crazy. Beat Long Zhao. That's his best win, in my opinion. Elijah Smith is a pretty good, bantamweight prospect who, he's been fun to watch. Last time out, he beat Toshimio Kazama. Before that, he beat Vince Morales, where he went to a decision with him. The UFC is taking time to build him, and SuYoung isn't a bad fighter. It's a good matchup, definitely a step up in opponent, I feel, for Elijah Smith, but I don't really think SuYoung is better than Elijah Smith from what I've seen from him in his fights, and I kind of expect him to get finished by Elijah Smith at some point later in the fight. I think it'll be two competitive rounds, perhaps where it's one apiece, and then Elijah will find him in the third. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the prospect Elijah Smith in this fight. SuYoung is dangerous, and there's a little bit of a, there's perhaps a little bit of a case to be made as to why he might win this fight. I don't feel that way. So we'll move up to Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. As far as interviews this week, the one with Steven Asplund on MMA Junkie, I believe, was probably my favorite from just listening to the fighters talk this week. Just a very likable guy. Used to be overweight. We watched him on the Contender Series. He throws a lot of volume. He's in your face, and he's definitely he's definitely a good fighter. He's lost to what was it? I think Denzel Freeman by a submission, which isn't a good look, but super likable. Really enjoyed his interview. Go watch that before the fight. I know a lot of people who just in the comments were like, "You're going on my parlay." And I a couple of the big YouTubers have taken him also. He goes up against Vitor Petrino, who fought at 205, very muscular, very big for the division, very big enough for the division where he could move up to a heavyweight and find success. He's looked very good in his last couple fights. He gets on your back and he's able to submit you. He's able to hurt you on the feet as well. 2 fights ago, he was undefeated up until getting fucking submitted by Anthony Smith, and then he was in a fight with Dustin Jacoby where it was back and forth until he got KO'd in the third round. He beat Austin Lane, who's got a fight coming up soon. Not sure how he's still at the UFC. But then he beat Thomas Peterson last time out, which was very impressive. And now he goes up against Steven Asplund. I feel like I want to take Steven Asplund for the sake of there's good. Okay, you could take Steven Asplund. He's got good volume. He got a standing TKO last time out. He was able to throw a lot and not get as tired as I thought he would. So he's got some decent cardio, but I don't know. I just I feel like the experience from Vitor Petrino, he's one of those guys at heavyweight who's better than a lot of guys on the ground, I feel. And the more time he spends in the division, the more time he'll have to prove that. I want Steven Asplund to win this fight. So it's one of those fights where I'm just going to openly say that I would rather him win. But I for the sake of just giving you guys picks and for making money myself, I'm definitely gonna go with Vitor Petrino, and I'm probably gonna go with him by finish in the second round. I think it'll be a hectic first round, but I think there'll be points where Vitor Petrino hurts Steven Asplund, and Steven Asplund wants to be known as a fun. I think he'll put himself into the fire, which will be fun for us to watch, but I think that'll lead to Vitor Petrino taking him out at some point. That's what I'm trying to get at. We move up to the feature fight of the prelims, which I think should probably be on the main card and could even probably be a co-main. I think it's a potentially pretty fun fight. We have Chris Curtis versus Myktybek Orolbai. Myktybek Orolbai has looked pretty good his last couple fights. Last time out, he beat Jack Hermansson, where he knocked him out. Jack Hermansson, that was I don't know, when you watch that back and you see the punch that Myktybek Orolbai slept Jack Hermansson with, it doesn't land super flush, and it just puts him straight out. It was on the temple, I believe, which is a very vulnerable place to get hit, but it was just it's one of those shots where you see a guy take it and go out, you're like, I think that might be kind of it for him. So Jack Hermansson, I don't think has really fought since then, so or has he? I don't think so. Whatever. Before that, Myktybek Orolbai beat Tafik Musaev. I think his only loss was to who's his loss to? Mateusz Rebecki, I believe. Like, they had a very, very, very bloody affair, and that was a very close fight where, you know, Myktybek Orolbai showed some resilience. His eye was super fucked up, and he came back and he landed hard. Chris Curtis, on the other hand, you know, Chris Curtis, last time out, he fought Max Griffin, who fucking sucks. And, like, it was kind of, like, a close fight, I guess. Like, I thought Chris Curtis obviously won. If you look at the stats, I mean, the striking stats were close. But, like, I don't know. Chris Curtis was in a good fight with Roman Kopylov until the third round, where, like, at the end of the freaking third round, in a flash knockdown, the judge, or the ref, just kind of called it off. That was a bad stoppage. Should have let it go to the cards. Probably would have lost on the cards because of that knockdown at the end, but that was a sick fight. Chris Curtis, you know, he's lost to Brendan Allen. They fought twice. It was a very close fight where he hurt himself in that fight. A lot of people thought that Chris Curtis got robbed bad in that fight. He's good, Chris Curtis. He's getting a little bit up there in age, and he's fought a lot, but you know, he could sometimes he shows up, but I'm not inclined to take him against Myktybek or Orolbai. I just don't feel like Chris Curtis presses on the gas as much. I don't know if Myktybek or Orolbai is going to finish Chris Curtis. I don't know if he's going to... I don't know. I feel like Chris Curtis is going to play this very safe and it'll go to a decision where Chris Curtis is like a little upset, kind of argues it for himself. He might grow as the fight goes on and might try and make Myktybek or Orolbai fight Chris Curtis's type of fight. But I don't know. I trusted Myktybek Orolbai. He's looked like he's very powerful. Chris Curtis isn't exactly young, and I feel like he's on a good streak right now, and he's going to perform very well against Chris Curtis tomorrow. So we're going to go with Myktybek Orolbai by finish in the third round, and this takes us into the main card. Let's go, guys. All right, we have Charles Johnson versus Bruno Silva. Charles Johnson last time out got knocked out bad by Alex Perez. He talked a lot about it in Fight Week. Yeah, he's gone back to the drawing board, looked at the mistakes he made. He said he felt like just not like into it, like everything like kind of like went by so fast. Like he kind of said he like wasn't really into the whole ordeal, being the fight, like the walkout and everything went fast. Bruno Silva, he beat Park Hyun-sung last time out. That was an underdog win from Bruno Silva. Park Hyun-sung had come off of a short notice fight against Tatsuro Taira where he was, undefeated going into that fight, and then he got submitted by Tatsuro Taira, and then not long after came back and then fought Bruno Silva, who's a tough out, definitely, and he showed that. Made easy work of Park Han-sung. He was beating him all 3 rounds leading up to the submission. So, yeah, Bruno Silva, he got TKO'd by Joshua Van. He had some moments in that fight. He's tough, Bruno Silva. He's not favored in this fight against Charles Johnson, whom I do like. But, like, if Charles Johnson, it looks anything like the way he looked in his previous performance, like he's going to get fucking, I don't know, it's not going to be a good night for Charles Johnson. But Bruno Silva isn't exactly always consistent, especially like right now with him. Like he is a little chinny, like he can definitely be pieced up. And I'm going to trust Charles Johnson. I'm going to give him this. Like if he doesn't win this fight, like I don't know if I'll pick him in another fight until he gets dropped by the UFC. But yeah, I'm going to go with Charles Johnson by decision over Bruno Silva. I think it'll be a competitive fight, and it'll go all 3 rounds. All right, we move up to the light heavyweight division. We have Ion Cutelaba versus Oumar Sy. Oumar Sy was undefeated in the UFC until suffering his first loss against Alonzo Menfield, which was a close fight. I believe Alonzo took the first and third. Oumar Sy spent a lot of time in the second round holding up Alonzo Menfield against the cage, looking for the takedowns. His striking was a little deficient in that fight, as we saw, And, I mean, Alonzo Menifield's not the greatest, but he's still a tough, he's tough, especially when you're coming into the UFC and you're fighting him. He's shown that, his ability to beat people who are, just coming into the UFC. He's a tough test. Oumar Sy beat Brandon Ribeiro last time out, and he was able to TKO him. Brandon Ribeiro kind of fucking sucks, so I don't feel like if you win or lose against him, it's a very good thing. So, yeah, but Oumar Sy beat him in very impressive fashion, which is good. And Ion Cutelaba, I mean, he has had a up and down UFC career, to put it mildly. The Hulk, he shows up to every weigh-in, painted green, and then flexes. Last time out, lost to Modestas Bukauskas in a split decision where, honestly, I think watching that fight back, you can make a good argument for Cutelaba winning that fight. Before that, he beat Ibo Aslan. Ibo Aslan's been on a bit of a downwards trajectory. Before that, beat Ivan Urslan. Lost to Philip Lins. Before that, beat Tanner Bozer, and then he was on a bit of a get-finished streak. It's tough, honestly, this fight. Oumar Sy is a favorite in this fight, but it's tough. It's tough. I'm gonna go with Oumar Sy. I think he has more ways to win this fight, but I think young Cutelaba is dangerous. So there's a lot of there's cases to be made for people I choose, like the opponents for the people I'm choosing to win these fights. But I'm going with Oumar Sy. I think he can win a decision. I think he can also TKO Ion Cutelaba. I think he's able to sap some of that energy from Cutelaba early, taking him down, elbows, ground and pound, getting on his back, being heavy. I think that Oumar Sy will find a way to win this fight. So we'll go with that. We move up the card. Yeah. Oh, featherweight division. We have Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. I think I took Harry Hardwick last time out, which was unbelievable. I'm not sure why I did that. He got leg kicked into oblivion. Cal Fernandez is a UFC fighter. Harry Hardwick's been not in the UFC. He's fought very regionally, and he's quite a character, obviously. But I mean, he took a lot of leg kicks, he was out of there pretty quickly last time out on short notice. But he goes up against Marwan Rahiki. If you guys watch MMA YouTubers, then I'm sure you guys probably know MMA Guru, and then you guys know Bedtime MMA. I'm sure MMA Guru will be going with his boy Harry Hardwick, and then Bedtime MMA will be going with Marwan Rahiki. Just because of these where these YouTubers are from and who they'll be repping. I think the smarter pick would be... I'm not sure. I don't know if he has a prediction video, but I think Bedtime's is out. And I'm sure he picked Marwan Rahiki. I'm going with Marwan Rahiki. I think Harry Hardwick definitely has more experience. And, he's good on the ground, Harry Hardwick, for what Marwan Rahiki's capable of. But, I just don't trust Harry Hardwick. I feel like Marwan Rahiki's he's very dangerous, and I feel like he's gonna finish Harry Hardwick at some point in the fight. And I'm not gonna give any official method of finish, but I just think that Marwan Rahiki will be getting Harry Hardwick out of there. Not going with him, Harry Hardwick. We move up to the featherweight division in the feature fight on the main card. For the co-main, we have Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. I thought Jose Delgado last time got kind of robbed in his fight against Nathaniel Wood. And he was pretty good about the whole ordeal. When prompted about, the fight, he was like, I lost. He's like, I lost. Which is just fantastic to hear from him. He's not sour over it. He's clearly just ready to perform. And that's what I expect him to do tomorrow against Andre Fili, who's quite old in this game. Definitely, I remember watching him on like The Ultimate Fighter, I believe, when Connor was coaching against TJ Dillashaw, and there was like an argument with Cody Garbrandt, or he was talking about TJ Dillashaw and Uriah Faber. His team was getting riled up, and one of the people who pushed Connor was Andre Fili. But yeah, Andre Fili is, he's won some good fights. Very capable fighter. I had him recently as an underdog in one of his fights. That might have been his last performance, honestly. Yeah, against Christian Rodriguez. I took him against Christian Rodriguez. I just thought it was a good pick, and it was a good pick. He won the fight by split decision. I thought it was the right decision, too. Yeah. What else can I say? Yeah, I don't expect... if everything goes to plan, Jose Delgado should finish Andre Fili. He's very old, and I don't expect him to win this fight. Jose Delgado is a pretty big favorite, and I expect him to finally finish over Andre Fili. This brings us to the women's strawweight division, which is our co-main event for the evening. Yikes. We have Amanda Lemos versus Gillian Robertson. Gillian's, very good on the ground. She's on like 4 or 5 fight win streak. Amanda Lemos got handled by Tatiana Suarez on the ground, where she just got like fucking held there and fucking nothing happened. Amanda Lemos, like, there was a time when she, maybe I would pick her to win her fights if I had my channel up then. But I didn't, and I don't, and we're in 2026. And she's fighting Gillian Robertson, who's looked very good in her last couple. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I fully expect Gillian to win a dominant decision or fucking finish her on the ground. She's not deficient in jiu-jitsu. I could see a ground and pound finish from Gillian. Like, she's fun. She comes to fight, and yeah, I think she'll beat Amanda Lemos in the co-main event for this fight card. This brings us to the main event, which does nothing for this division. A lot of people think that Kevin Vallejos is like a mini Ilia Topuria, and he's also a bigger favorite in this fight than Ilia was against Josh Emmett back in the day, where he absolutely fucked him for 5 rounds, and kudos to Josh Emmett for surviving, because that's crazy. But yeah, that's just a side note. I think that Kevin Vallejos will win this fight over Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's only lost to very good competition, Yair Rodriguez, Lerone Murphy, which is like a fucking boring-ass fight where, honestly, on the verdict scorecard, you can look at Josh Emmett picked off some rounds. He's knocked out Bryce Mitchell. I mean, like, he loses to very, very good fighters. Last time out for Kevin Vallejos, I mean, he fought Giga Chikadze on the... he fought Giga Chikadze and was able to find his chin. And, I mean, it's kind of an old Giga Chikadze, but, I mean, it's still impressive. I guess Arnold Allen wasn't able to do it when they fought. But Arnold Allen isn't much of a finisher. It's kind of tough, but, I mean, Josh Emmett is a very, like, as I said, he's a big underdog. I don't know if he should be that much of an underdog. Like, I don't agree. Like, I think Ilia was more proven when he fought Josh Emmett than Kevin Vallejos is. Kevin had a very good fight with Gene Silva on the Contender Series, which is part of his claim to fame. But to wrap things up, guys, I think that Kevin Vallejos is going to KO Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett has been working with TJ Dillashaw. He's taken about a year off, I believe, since his last fight in the hopes of rejuvenating some sort of title run, I guess. Or, Josh Emmett's a very tough guy. But at this point in his career, I do see him kind of as a one-trick pony. And he always has that kind of power bomb. But I don't know if he's going to find it against Kevin Vallejos. Not to say that Kevin Vallejos hasn't been hitting his fights, but I don't know. I think he's got this, guys. We're going with a Kevin Vallejos knockout over Josh Emmett. I do not want to get 3 main events incorrect that would suck. We've been doing very well overall, I would say, on picks. We've gotten some very good fights right, and I want to continue that being the case. It's very late. It's very tired. I'm going to edit the shit out of this, get it out as quick as possible so that there's proof of the fact that I did not miss this card and that these are my predictions. I will be more consistent with my uploads. Continuing on. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good weekend.